Welcome back to the cryptoworld channel, everyone. My name is Josh, and right now, Bitcoin has just confirmed a break to the downside, activating a new bearish pattern in the short term, which I'll talk about in just a moment, alongside Ethereum also breaking to the downside, which I'll talk about later in the video, so make sure to watch to the end. First of all, starting off on the 4-day Bitcoin chart, and right now, technically the price of Bitcoin is still within the larger multi-month long bullish trends that we've seen since around the beginning of this year, because despite the current short-term pullback, technically speaking, the price of Bitcoin is still currently forming higher lows and higher highs when you're looking at the significant lows and highs here on the larger timeframes. And on top of that, obviously the super trend indicator right here is still currently sitting in the green, the complete opposite to what we saw during all of 2022. So obviously this is also indicating a larger bullish trend still currently at play and has been at play since the beginning of this year. And now if you're looking at that larger cup and handle pattern here on the 4-day Bitcoin chart, obviously as of right now, and as I've mentioned recently on the channel, this giant pattern is not yet confirmed anyway, because in order to actually confirm this pattern, we would need to see a strong confirmed breakout well above 31k, with ideally a weekly candle close above 31k, which as of right now we have not yet seen, which simply means this giant cup and handle pattern is not in play. It is not currently active, as I've also said recently on the channel. And in fact, if we see a further pullback here in the shorter term, this could potentially invalidate the pattern altogether. But at the same time, it's possible we could also form a smaller cup and handle pattern here in the somewhat shorter term. But obviously for that, we would need to see a rebound back up towards around 31,000 within the next 1 to 2 months or so. And now if you're taking a look at the daily Bitcoin chart, obviously as I've said, over the last 1 to 2 weeks, we do have an active bearish divergence currently playing out on the daily time frame, which means we should not really be expecting any bullish momentum in the short term. And instead, like I've been saying, over the last 1.5 weeks or so, we're due to see either some choppy sideways price action in the short term, if not some slight bearish price action in the shorter term, which is exactly what we have seen since this new bearish divergence confirmed. And so once again, this is the type of price action that I continue to expect in the shorter term, as in at least talking about the coming days, because as of right now, if you're looking at the daily Bitcoin RSI, obviously this is still trending to the downside, indicating that this bearish divergence is still currently active. And of course, I've also been mentioning that the daily Bitcoin MACD is still currently looking more bearish than bullish as of right now, because as of right now, it is simply showing bearish momentum. But with that being said, it is not showing as much momentum compared to some of these previous movements, which basically means we shouldn't necessarily expect a massive crash straight to the downsides. And instead, once again, we're likely going to see potentially some slight bearish price action, relatively mild price action in the shorter term, which is exactly what is being playing out. And now, just before zooming into the short-term Bitcoin chart and talking about some important price targets, first quickly mentioning that the World Series of Trading, the largest crypto trading competition in the world, is currently active this year. It is open for registration right now, and this year there is a total prize pool of up to 8 million USDT, and also a Lamborghini Huracan, a brand new Lamborghini, and also multiple brand new Rolex watches, which are up for grabs in the prize pool for this year's World Series of Trading, hosted by Bybit as usual. And so I'm entering into this competition with the official cryptoworld team for the 3rd year in a row. And yes, this team is open for any of you to join if you want to. And basically how it works is, if the cryptoworld team places well in the competition, then all of the team members, so potentially all of you, if you join this team, will get a share in that prize pool. And on top of that, if you're within the first 10 members to join my team, you get an extra $10 bonus in your Bybit account. And also, if you join this competition in my cryptoworld team, you get a $50 bonus if you do that within the first 3 days. So already there's initial bonuses up for grabs if you join my team in this competition. And obviously, if we place well as a team, we can get a share in in that $8 million prize pool and a possible brand new Lamborghini or Rolex watches. And so I'll make sure to include a link to this page right here in the description down below and in the pinned comment. In fact, it'll be the first link down below in this video that will take you to this page right here where you can join my cryptoworld team and potentially win a share in that massive prize pool. So you may as well check this out. But anyway, now zooming into the shorter term Bitcoin chart. This is on the 8-hour Bitcoin chart, and obviously right now as I'm recording this video, the price of Bitcoin is clearly breaking below this important support line, which was sitting at around 29.8k to 29.9k. And now, technically speaking, at the time of recording this video, we have not yet actually seen a confirmed 8-hour candle close below this support line, but we have actually confirmed the break below that support on smaller time frames, which I'll talk about in just a moment. But first, now that we are seeing a break to the downside below this support on the 8-hour chart, this means that this potential previous bullish flag pattern is now potentially invalidating the formation phase for the pattern, because obviously this pattern was never actually confirmed to begin with, because as I've said over and over again recently on the channel, we need to see a confirmed breakout well above 31k with ideally a weekly candle close above that resistance in order to actually confirm this pattern and confirm a breakout to the upside. But considering that did not actually happen, we were still within the formation phase, never actually confirmed the pattern, but now we are actually invalidating the pattern altogether. But as I've also warned about over the last few days in my last few videos, now that we are seeing a break to the downside below this support line, this is not only invalidating this previous potential bullish flag pattern, we are also now activating a new pattern in the short term, which if you're looking at the 2-hour Bitcoin chart, obviously as you can see right here, we have now activated a new bearish flag pattern here in the imminent short term, which once again I've been talking about over the last few days. And so once again, now that we've seen a confirmed break below this support line on the 2-hour chart, which by the way, this support on the 2-hour chart was sitting at around 29.7k. And so now that that has happened, this is not just forming the pattern anymore. We have now actually confirmed the breakout and confirmed the pattern, which confirms a technical price target, which is currently valid here on the 2-hour Bitcoin chart. And this price target is sitting at approximately 28,500. And so obviously as of right now, the price of Bitcoin has already moved a decent distance in between the breaking point and the price targets. But technically speaking, we're still only around halfway in between the break and the price target, because from the current Bitcoin price at the time of recording this video, that's still around another 2% drop in the price of Bitcoin towards that price target. And the total size of the drop from the breaking point to the price target would have been around a 4% drop. And so once again, as of right now, we simply have an active bearish price target in the short term. And obviously bearish momentum in the short term is currently stronger than the bullish momentum, also due to that bearish divergence playing out on the daily time frame, which simply means, at least in the short term, when you're looking at the smaller time frames, we're simply looking more bearish than bullish. And as for resistance, in case we actually see a bounce back to the upside, I would expect this previous support to now act as new resistance, sitting at around 29.7k to 29.9k. And above that, if we actually break back into the 30k range, first of all, if that happened, that would actually invalidate this bearish flag pattern. But in that case, we'll still have resistance at around 30.4k. So overall, as of right now for Bitcoin, once again, in the short term, we're looking more bearish than bullish, but in the longer term, on the larger time frames, technically we're still looking more bullish than bearish. So what this means is that right now we're basically in a setback or a pullback or basically a pause from the larger bullish trend, kind of like what we saw back here or back here, for example, because obviously it is actually possible to experience short-term bearish price action during a larger bullish trend, just like how it's possible to experience shorter-term bullish price action within a larger bearish trend. But anyway, now getting into the Ethereum part of this video, this is on the daily ETH to US dollar chart, and right now the price of ETH is continuing the break below this previous ascending line of support, which was sitting at around 1890. And as I've mentioned over the last few days, the next level of support to pay attention to is actually this price range on the daily time frame, sitting in between around around 1770 to 1820. But before that important price range, obviously we do have some short-term levels of support, which I'll mention in just a moment. But first, taking a quick look at the Ethereum price oscillators on the daily time frame. Right now, the RSI is still looking relatively neutral, but it could potentially start flipping more bearish if we confirm a new lower high in place, which would obviously set up a bearish trend. And if you're looking at the daily Ethereum MACD, right now, this is also potentially starting to flip more bearish. But with that being said, as of right now, it is technically still showing limited momentum in the short term compared to some of these previous movements, which once again means we should not necessarily expect a massive quick crash in the price of ETH on the daily time frame. And instead, we're likely going to see either a slight pullback, kind of like what we've seen over the last few days, continue to play out here in the short term, or potentially a little bit of choppy sideways price action in between the short-term bearish price action, kind of like what we've seen over the last few days or over the last 1 week. And now, if you're zooming into the shorter term, this is on the 6-hour ETH to US dollar chart. Obviously, over the last 1 to 2 days, we saw a perfect retest of this previous line of support, which is now acting as new resistance, once again at around 1890 to 1.9k, which I also warned about in my last video, saying that we should be expecting resistance around that area. And so now that we have actually further confirmed that level as resistance and confirm a retest, this has simply further confirmed the break to the downside and the short-term bearish scenario. And so now that we are looking more bearish than bullish in the shorter term, looking at the next levels of support to pay attention to, taking a look at the Fibonacci retracement tool from swing low to swing high here on the 6-hour ETH to US dollar chart. First of all, we have now seen a break below this previous Fibonacci level at around 1870. So next, I'll be looking towards the 50% retracement level sitting at around 1820 to 1830, which is close to where we have seen a small bounce so far. But if we actually see a further confirmed break well below 1820, then in that case, it's possible we could drop all the way down to this golden pocket sitting in between around 1760 to 1770. And as for short-term resistance, once again, we should find some resistance around this previous Fibonacci level at around 1870. And above that, we also have this previous level of support now acting as new resistance in between 1890 to 1.9k. And now, if you want to know how to maximize your profits in crypto, no matter if the price is bearish, bullish, or simply chopping around sideways, then make sure to watch these videos popping up right here on your screen. The video in the top left shows you how to make money if the price is bearish or bullish, and the video in the bottom left shows you how to make money if the price is chopping around sideways. But anyway, that's everything that I have to say for today. I really hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to check out the World Series of Trading, and I'll see you all in the next video.